I'm Julianne and I can be found as Lovebird Lane on Ravelry and Instagram. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today to chat about what I've been making this week. I think you will all notice that there is a slightly different backdrop today, and the lighting is different. I've actually got a Diva light now, hence why my glasses are not on. I cannot actually see what is on my viewfinder. I can see that I'm in the frame, but that's about it, because I have a big Diva ring light in front of me and it was reflecting off my glasses a little bit strangely, so I got rid of them. But I am here with a new setup. I have started to unpack my belongings. We got them all from the storage unit on Sunday, and I am to the point where I'm beginning to set up my workspace. It is still quite trashed all around behind the camera, but the you'll recognize the shelf from previous episodes, and I've set it all up, and I'm pretty happy to have my yarn back in fingertip distance. So I might be a little bit flat today. I'm a little bit hungover, I must say. I did have a little bit too much wine having a chat with my husband and my roommate last night. So hopefully I've done my makeup sufficiently enough so that I don't look too hungover, but I don't know how my mannerisms are going to be. I have a slight headache and I'm a bit tired, so we'll see how I go. That dreaded wine. It was cheap wine too, so you can just imagine. Yes, so I guess I can get on with it. I'm hoping that this is all looking okay. I've actually been noticing when I'm editing my podcasts is like I always look like I have no neck. Like I always have my head very much down. So I'm going to try and keep it up and let you see that I actually do have a neck. But yeah, let's get on with what I have been making. It's not a whole lot this week because I mentioned last week that I was going to pretty well monogamously be working on my no frills sweater, and I have been. It is here in front of me. I have a table now in front of me so I don't have to keep reaching up and down for things. Let's see which is front, which is back. This is the back. So I finished the body. As you can see there, I have got to the bottom of my sweater. I have knit my first sleeve and I am currently approximately halfway through the second sleeve. So this has been powering along. It's all I have been knitting on. I don't even have a pair of socks on the needles at the moment. So it's just been all about my no frills sweater. And I'm really still enjoying it. This is a beautiful pattern, same as I thought of my first one. I just love it. And yes, I can't wait to have this done, even though I'm not going to, it doesn't look like I'm going to have a chance to wear it at all until next winter. This week we are actually getting, it's the first week of October. It's the 2nd of October today. Oh, I think I've got mohair on my throat. So today is the 2nd day of October, and yes, it is already going to be up to 32 degrees Celsius this week, and I am just losing my mind. I hate the hot weather. As I've probably said 1,000,001 times on this podcast, I do not like the hot weather. And today, I'm not sure what today is supposed to be, but I have got most of the house closed up. I have the window open here just for a little bit of extra light as well as my ring light, and I can feel the heat coming through the window. Even though the sun is somewhere over that way, I can feel it coming through the window. So I think today is going to be somewhere in the mid-20s, so it's definitely not going to be mohair sweater weather anytime soon, but I am powering along. As I said last week, I didn't put the video in. I might just pop that in now so that you can see all of the works in progress that I have currently going. And I mentioned last week that I wanted to do a whip down. I wanted to join in with some people that I've seen over on Instagram who are doing that whip down before the end of the year. So that is what I am trying to do. And this is one of my whips, obviously. So I just have about half an arm length to go, and this will be complete. So I'm hoping it will definitely be finished by next week, and I will be able to show you. And that is my no frills sweater for this week. Now my next work in progress is barely begun. I think I mentioned last week about the Pebble Cardi CAL. I can't remember whether I actually mentioned it because I was waiting on the yarn, which actually did arrive last week. I think it was last Thursday. I think it arrived. I record on Wednesdays, and I have mohair on my lips. And I did get my yarn last week. So all I have done so far is to swatch. The CAL began on the 1st of October in America, so technically it's probably today, being we're kind of half a day ahead or whatever here in Australia. So I have done my swatch, which you can see here. I got gauge. I haven't washed my swatch, but I don't know. It's cotton yarn, so I don't know that that's going to make a whole bunch. It's cotton and acrylic yarn. So I don't know that it's going to make a whole bunch of difference if I do block it. I'm just going to go with it. I got gauge on the 4mm hook, which is what is recommended for the pattern. So this yarn is Knit Picks. It is their Colour Mist, which is a version of Comfy. And as I said, it is, I believe it is 75% cotton, 25% acrylic. And this is the colourway Foggy Beach. So it's basically just a grey speckle, really, on the white cotton base. I am debating whether I want to start crocheting on this before I finish my no frills. I think Melissa Fisher, who is the designer of the Pebble Cardi and the host of the CAL, said she will be breaking down the pattern into weekly goals so that you can complete the Cardi on schedule, and I figure so long as I can meet that schedule every week, I should be able to finish my no frills first and then move on to doing this. I'm pretty excited to do it because I haven't actually crocheted a garment before. I've done blankets, I've done toys, but I've never done a garment, so I'm really looking forward to it. And this is done in, it's called herringbone half crochet, half double crochet, I think is what it is. Sorry, Granger is wandering around and making lots of clicking sounds on the floating floorboards. Hopefully he'll sit down shortly. Can you sit down, please? He's not going to leave. So you're probably going to hear a little bit of clipping around. Hopefully he's leaving now. So yeah, I'm keen to get started on this, but yeah, I'm going to finish my no frills first, I think, just to get that off the needles. So the only other thing I've been working on this week is some more spinning on my electric eel wheel nano. So I think I spoke about this last week, that I had a new spin on the go that I was going to discuss at a later date, and I can do that now because I've got a fairly decent amount going. So this is some fibre that I got many moons ago from Owl About Yarn. And Marion is outside, but she's still making a lot of noise. I do hope it's not too annoying. She's got a lot of bird friends here now, so that's probably what's happening. So this was from Owl About Yarn, who is Jenny, I believe, and she is located in Wales. And this is her colourway, well, this fibre colourway is called Jessica. And it is Falklands and Merino de Arles, I think is, I don't know if that's how it's said, but that's what it was called. That's phonetically what it was called. And yeah, I've been spinning this up. It is, the fibre unfortunately is quite felted. I don't believe that's just from storage. I think it may have been felted when I got it. I bought this very early into my spinning career, so it could be that I just didn't know the difference at the time. So it has been a little bit of a challenge to spin. As you can see, I've nearly finished my first piece of fibre. I split the braid in thirds lengthwise, so I just measured it in a big N shape and broke it at the 2 points. Hopefully I'm approximately a third of the 100 gram braid on each of them. And the thing that is really keeping me going, even though this has been quite challenging because it is felted, it's the colours. The colours are really speaking to me, and I really think this is going to be gorgeous when I ply it up. So as I said, it's in thirds, so it's just going to be a traditional 3-ply. And I'm as always, because I love plying. Plying is my favorite part, so I'm super duper excited to get this plied. However, like I said, I'm only on my first third, so it's going to be a little while. I haven't spun on this for the last few days, but I did quite a bit last week. I've been quite exhausted after all of that moving on the weekend, and the spinning hasn't quite made it. I've just been, any spare minute that I have that's not tidying and unpacking and things like that has basically been on the couch knitting. So my spinning hasn't been happening the last week, but the last few days, but since last week I've done this much spinning. And I don't know whether it's the Falkland or perhaps that merino variant. There is like a heathered look to this fibre, like there are brown sections that have been over dyed, and it's really fun to see that come out in the singles. Is just see that little sort of barber pole of the brown fibre mixed with the white fibre. You know, it's all dyed, but you know what I mean. And yeah, that's really fun to see that come out. So I really am looking forward to seeing what that looks like all plied up as well. So that is the spinning that I've done this week. And that's pretty much it for what I've been working on. So that's pretty quick, really. I do have a couple of other things to talk about. I've just realised that I have left some of that stuff in other areas of the house. So just bear with me and I'll go get them. So I have been cooking up some plans for some sewing, and it's been a really, really long time since I have done any sewing, especially clothing for myself. I haven't done any of that for a really, really long time, and I've kind of gotten the bug because I've seen quite a few really cute patterns floating around on Instagram and on podcasts and things like that, and so I've kind of decided that I'm going to make myself some clothes for summer. And I don't have all of the fabric here. I did put an online order through Spotlight the other day, and I believe it's shipped or about to be shipped, so I don't have it quite yet, but I do have a couple of pieces of fabric here to show off. So the first one is some quilting cotton. I actually got this, I have a very, very close to me quilting shop, and I popped in the other day because I was walking past, and I thought, oh, I'll just pop in and have a look. Ended up spending $50 in there, you know, the way you do. But part of that was this fabric. This was actually 50% off, I believe. It was the end of a bolt. So this was, I think I've got 1¼ meters here of this quilting cotton. And my thoughts for this was to make possibly a Sorbetto top, which is a pattern by Colette patterns or Seamwork. It used to be Colette patterns. Now I think they mostly work under the name Seamwork. And yeah, I thought this is probably enough for me to make a sleeveless tank top. I'm thinking possibly that I will not do the pleat down the center, because I do have, it is kind of limited meterage because it is only 1.25 meters. I haven't actually double checked how much is supposed to be used for my size on the Sorbetto top, but I have got this planned for that. I just saw these colors and I just knew I had to have them because I don't know whether you've noticed, but I'm tending to go more of a pink kind of direction these days. I used to be very purple, but I find that I don't really enjoy wearing purple, but I've moved more to enjoying wearing colours like pink and rose gold. So this was very much in my wheelhouse, was this colour. So yeah, I bought this fabric. I really, really like it. It's had a wash. What brand is it? It's Maywood Studio. It's called Neutral Ground. That's about all it says on the selvage here. So that is planned for a Sorbetto top, so long as I can get it out of that meterage. I think I should be alright if I just do some, I mean, the Sorbetto is only 2 pattern pieces anyway, I believe. So it should be okay. And I actually am very, very fortunate that we are quite close to my father-in-law's copy shop. He owns a copy shop, so I've been able to get my patterns printed on large AO copy shop format, which is very, very handy because I hate putting together tiled PDF patterns. So I popped along there today, and he's actually printing me all of these patterns. So if you are in my area, go and see Copyfax Edwardstown and see my father-in-law and get him to print your patterns. Little plug there. Not endorsed, just he's very, very useful and very helpful. So that was my Sorbetto top. Now, I bought some more fabric yesterday. I haven't quite decided what it will be used for. It is pink again. I purchased, I think I said I'd purchased that fabric on Spotlight. I don't know if I said what it was. Mostly I'm going towards linen because I was watching Kristen, who is Woolenvine's latest, or not latest podcast. I think it was her Petite Pair episode. She was wearing one of the patterns I'm going to talk about, which I can probably talk about now because we're onto it. She was wearing a Fen Dress, which is a pattern by Fancy Tiger Crafts. And I just loved the whole, like the neckline, I think she referred to them as dolman sleeves. And I just really liked the look of that pattern. And Kristen thought hers was a little bit baggy on her, but I thought it looked fantastic. But anyway, she did hers out of linen, and I've never sewn with linen. I've never actually even worn any linen. I've never owned any linen clothing or anything like that. And I know from linen, knitted linen, that it's very breathable. It, it's great for the hot weather. So I have treated myself to quite a bit of linen or linen blends. As I was in Spotlight yesterday, I was doing a return because I've decided on that bulky sweater that I was talking about a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to make the madder pullover rather than the poncho. So I went back into Spotlight and I returned the needles and the toggles that I had purchased for that bolero. It's not a poncho, it's a bolero. I returned them yesterday and ended up walking out with not quite as much money spent, so I did save a little, but I walked out with 2 meters of this. I believe it was called antique pink. I think antique pink or antique rose or something like that. This is 100% linen. This one. They had 30% off if anybody wants to run into Spotlight. They had the VIP special of 30% off linens. So I grabbed 2 meters of this. It is very wide. It's a 53-inch wide or 135 centimeters, I think it is, wide piece of fabric. So it's a really nice wide cut. And I got 2 meters of this. And yeah, I just went to have a look, just to have a feel, because I knew that I'd already ordered the stuff online, and I just went to have a feel and have a look, and this color just spoke to me. And although I did purchase some dark pink linen, I believe that was the 100% linen, I saw this color and I just thought, oh my god, I have to have I have to have that because it's just so pretty. I think it should be a different shade to the one that I've purchased online, so we're all good there. So this needs to go into the wash today. I haven't decided if I'm going to make a Fen top. I probably don't have enough yardage to make the dress out of this, but I don't know. I have some patterns in mind, which I guess I can talk about now. I'll put down my piece of linen. So yes, as I was saying, the Fen dress, which hopefully I've shown, brought in a photo so that you can see it. The other 2 patterns that I have purchased that I am getting printed are from a brand called Helen's Closet, and I actually haven't heard of that brand before, but I noticed on Instagram, I believe it was, Noodlehead, I don't know her real name, but that is her handle, I believe. She's a bag designer. She made an Ashton top, which is by Helen's Closet, and I'll put that in. And yeah, it's basically just an A-line sleeveless top. And in summer, I prefer to either have like the dolman drop sleeves or sleeveless. I don't really enjoy having a seamed arm on my tops, probably because I'm, a little bit bulky up the top. I don't like to have all those seams there, so I either like to have it just the drop shoulder or sleeveless. So I saw that top, and it comes in 2 views. I will be doing View A, I believe it is. That's the longer one, and then there's also a cropped top as well, which nobody wants to be seeing my belly. So I'm doing the full hip length version. I haven't again decided what fabric I'm gonna have to look at them when my linens arrive as to what I'm going to use where, because I've got this antique pink one that I've just showed you. I've got a dark pink one coming. I have a grey, a black, and an indigo. And the indigo looks to be fairly light, but I won't know until it arrives. So I have the Ashton top that I want to do. Plus, while I was browsing Helen's closet, I noticed that there is a culotte pattern, and it's called the Winslow Culottes. And I've always wanted a pair of culottes, always. I even bought, it was a pattern by Megan Nilsson, and I can't remember what it's called. It's the Cascade skirt. I got that one as well, but no, there was a pair of Tanya culottes, I think it was. But with the Tanya culottes, they, I think, are like a circle. Each leg is like a circle skirt, essentially. And I've never done a circle skirt. I hate hemming, so I kind of never made them. I did buy fabric for them, which is just not my style anymore, so that I'll be getting rid of that. But yeah, I bought the Tanya Culottes pattern, but like I said, they were virtually circle skirts per each leg, so I just did not end up making that. However, the Helen's Closet ones are essentially just rectangles of fabric that get pleated at the waist. And it looks, for all intents and purposes, like a skirt. And, who doesn't love a skirt that is actually shorts? Especially when you have larger legs, like myself, and you want to kind of avoid that chub rub. And anyway, so I got the Winslow Culottes as well. So depending on, I probably want to make them out of some darker fabric. So we'll have a look and see with the black and the blue linens and see which one, I prefer. I'll probably make those out of some linen. So yeah, I'm really excited to get my hands on all the linen. It's actually, I think the pink is the only one that's 100% linen plus this one that I've just showed you. The other two are linen cotton blends, and I think they're around about 50-50. So yeah, either way, they're going to be warm, cool and breezy. So I'm really excited to get working on some sewing. I don't know when that's going to be. I should be picking up the rest of my patterns sometime this week if I can find the time and not, die in the heat. But yeah, I'm really kind of excited to be making some clothes again. And speaking of things that I am excited about, I have been back at the dye pots. So I think I've mentioned it before, but I've had a few people contact me for custom orders in the time that I've been off work, moving and all that kind of good stuff. And yeah, yesterday I finally got one of my custom orders done. I just did one batch yesterday, and as part of that batch, because it's a 4-skein batch and I only needed one for the customer, I decided to throw in some of the fingering weight Highland wool that I spoke about last week. So I've done that. It took the colour amazingly. It really, really did. So I'll show you the superwash version first. And this was one of these skeins will be going to my customer. Now this is my colourway Eucalyptus Blossom, and it was one of my spring colourways last year, and it's very variegated. We've got the pinks and the yellows and a bit of orange and green, and there's a little speckle of grey in there as well. So this was what was requested. So that's what it looks like on, this is my BFL sock base. So that's got the amount of nylon in it, and it is superwash. So that's the colours that it came out like on the superwash yarn. And here it is on the Highland wool. So I'm really happy with the saturation of colour. And yeah, I found that the speckles did spread a little bit. I mean, you can see there, you know, the speckles are a little bit more defined on the superwash because superwash pretty well grabs the colour straight away. The speckles on the non-superwash are a little bit more blurry, but I think they've still created quite a pretty effect, and I think I need to be slightly more careful with the temperature of my dye baths because obviously with superwash you can boil it a little bit and it won't felt. And this isn't felted, let me just say that straight up, but it does feel different to what it did going in. So I don't know whether that's just simply because the yarn has been treated. You know, it's had colour added to it, it's had acid added to it, plus it's been rinsed and things like that. Whether that is why it feels a bit different. I don't think it's felted. Like it's clearly not felted. They're not, the fibers aren't stuck to each other or anything like that. It just feels different. It feels, I would say, slightly more toothy against my skin. I did have it up against my skin last week. It's still fine. Like I would still wear it next to skin. It is just a little bit toothy. But yeah, overall I'm really, really pleased with how the colours came out on this yarn, and I'm trying to decide whether I want to keep these two for myself. It's not really, it's a bit bright for what I would be wearing. However, I did think that I've got enough yardage to make a Love Note sweater, which is the pattern by Tin Can Knits that you've probably seen absolutely everywhere lately. And I thought with just some white mohair held with this, it would really tone down the brightness, and I might have quite a pretty sweater out of that. But I'm not sure. It may end up in the shop. If you want to buy these, let me know and you can have them. But but yeah, these will probably be hanging around here for a little while until I decide what to do with them. So that was my dyeing exploits for this week, and I was so excited to be able to get back to the dye pots. I've got some self-striping and a couple of other colourways I need to complete for some customers, so those will need to get done before I start adding too much more to my shop. And I think that's probably it. Marion is going off her nut. She's outside talking to her friends, so hopefully she hasn't been annoying you this whole podcast. But yes, I think that is probably it for this week. I'm going to go and rest my head and my eyes from this exceedingly bright light that is in front of me here. I hope you enjoy the new backdrop. This will probably be where I podcast in future. I hope the light has imparted a little bit more detail and clarity to the podcast. And yeah, I guess all I have left to say is that if you enjoyed the episode, please give us a thumbs up. And if you really loved it, please make sure that you are subscribed. I do this every week, as schedules pending. It's not my schedule pending. It is, I do this every week, so long as there's nobody else in the house. But I always try and do one every week. So make sure you're subscribed so that you catch all of the episodes. So I think for now, we'll say thank you so much for watching. Happy knitting, happy crafting. Please take care of yourself. And until the next one, I'll see you. Bye.